Hey everyone, I'm Elfowls, and welcome to week 7 of the MGL. So this week we are going up against Crep, and she has a very interesting team over there. Obviously you can see she went with Mono Dog. Yes, those are all 11 dogs, no question on that. But individual Pokemon, Elekid, this is going to be the fastest Pokemon in the matchup. Very threatening, strong electric type that outspeeds even Doduo, and I'm going to have a hard time switching into it. Hisui and Growlithe, which is an amazing wall breaker. I actually wanted this round 1, but Crep went for it round 1 instead, so I had to end up going with the team I have with the round 1 quick go. Growlithe, Head Smash, and Flare Blitz just do not have switchings on my side, so it's going to be very tough to deal with that. Corphish, another extreme wall breaker with adaptability water moves, that has decent bulk for a water type there as well. Mischief, another very strong Pokemon. Those dark moves hit pretty hard with Stakeout as a potential bonus, so it's going to be tough to switch into that. A lot of stuff that's tough to switch into, as you can see. Trico, kind of standard offensive grass type. Its claim to fame is kind of unburdened with Swords Dance sets, maybe trying to find a way to get rid of an item, but I'm not expecting it to do too much in this match. Freedo, which is kind of a miniature Darkspawn. It can be a defensive Witch Passer. It can also go a little bit offensive with decently strong play roughs. Rockruff, decently offensive rock type. Sets rocks, of course, but it's mostly just going to be Flick Stone Edge and a couple of coverage moves. Greavard, which is a Terra Captain here, can customize any defensive set with Fluffy to kind of check whatever it wants to. So it can just be a pain for my physical attackers to deal with. Swablu, which is kind of just a generic flying type, doesn't do too much unique, just can be kind of bulky if it wants to, I suppose. And then, of course, Phanpy at the bottom. Crep is a huge fan of Phanpy. She's brought it a ton this season, and it's put in a little bit of work. It's basically an equivalent to Donphan. It doesn't get Rapid Spin, and its stats are worse, so it's, pretty much worse than Donphan is in its respective tier. But being a Terra Captain definitely makes it still a problem to deal with. It still gets, of course, Stab, Earthquake, Ice Shard, and whatever Terra type it wants here. So yeah, that's going to be a tough team to deal with. I did not like this matchup going in, but here's a team I came up with. We have Scarf, Toadschool, because both grass and ground moves look really spammable into my opponent's team. Earth Power only has the resist of Trico and Swablu, which I'm not expecting either of them to show up, but if they do, I mean, if I can get either of them out of the way, then Earth Power looks really great just to hit things hard. Even something like Scarf Growlithe that expects to beat Toadschool, I can try to get the jump on that, get the jump on an Elekid who thinks it can Ice Punch me, so this is a good surprise as well as a potentially great sweeper. Other moves, Giga Drain is actually decently spammable as well if certain things are out of the way and it keeps me healthy. Split Bomb is just there for select targets, hits the Fido super effectively, and it's my best move into Swablu, and then Knock Off, more of a filler, but removing items is always great if the situation calls for it. Next up we have Tinkatink. This is a bulky Eviolite set, mostly just meant as a blanket check to the Mischief, the Trico, the Fido, and the Rockruff. So we can switch in on any of those guys and generally be okay, and then we have our stab moves to hit back, Knock Off for item removal, and Stealth Rock, of course, to set up those rocks. Pretty standard Tinkatink. I'm thinking it can put in a lot of work this week and just take some hits. Next up is Doduo. This is a Life Orb set. The main idea is Life Orb Quick Attack, which if the Elekid is chipped down into range enough, it is really not a very bulky Pokemon. So Life Orb Quick Attack does a lot of damage to it. Doduo's biggest problem in this matchup was that Elekid outspeeding it, but Quick Attack means that if it's chipped down enough, we do win that matchup. And then we win just about every other matchup, just with strong Life Orb Brave Birds. Very hard for my opponent to switch on. Knock Off for the Greavard specifically to hit that super effectively. And then Swords Dance, more of a filler, but if I can set it up, it makes me impossible to switch into. Next up we have Quaxley. This is going to be a bulky water, and we're holding a Wackenberry. This is mostly what I'm going to use to try and get Elekid chipped into range of Doduo. We can take an electric move, hit it with a Liquidation, and that should do at least half to it. And then Aqua Jet is there to pick things off, mostly there for the Growlithe, which we also quote-unquote check. We can switch into Flare Blitz, I guess. And Aqua Jet's a nice surprise if it does stay in to try to get that KO on it. Encore, mostly just to lock things down. Corphish specifically, if it tries to Dragon Dance up on me, I can Encore it in and prevent that sweep, and then Roost for recovery. Next up is the Fuecoco. This is an Oranberry set just for longevity, and it's mostly meant to check the Greavard and the Fido. Specifically the Greavard, we have the Oranberry here, so if it clicks Poltergeist, it will succeed the first time it goes for it, but then after we eat the berry, it will not have an effect on us, so that's why I'm going with that item. And then, of course, our standard set, Flamethrower, Will-O-Wisp, Slack Off, and Encore. Flamethrower hits things I'm trying to check pretty hard, and the rest of the set's pretty standard from there. And then lastly, we are actually seeing the return of Geodude. This is an Eviolite set, mostly meant to ease the matchup against things like the Elekid and the Growlithe. We can tank hits from those guys okay, specifically Growlithe, we are decent switching on, and then with Terra Fighting, this actually becomes our only rock resist, which is not going to be weak to fire, so we can check it all right, and then we just kind of hit hard in return. Rock Blast, of course, hits that Growlithe, and it's a great stab across the matchup. Body Slam with Galvanize to turn it into Electric move becomes our other stab, which, you know, hits the Corphish. If we're Terra Fighting, we might win the Corphish matchup. Brick Break becomes stab after Terra Fighting, and it is more just to hit the Mastiff and break any potential screens, but it was honestly mostly just filler. And then Stealth Rock, because it's an alternate Stealth Rock setter in case Tink does not find where to set it up. So yeah, that's going to be the team. Pretty bulky take on the team this time. We just have the Scarf Toadstool and the Life Orb and Doduo, but everything else is meant to kind of tank hits. So we'll see how well that works out for us. I'm looking forward to the battle, so I will see you guys there. Alright, what's up guys? I realized, unfortunately, in post that I completely lost all of the audio from this battle. No commentary made it. So unfortunately, we're going to have to do this in post commentary, but that's fine. We can at least do 1.5 times speed. So we see the battle against Crep here. It is going to be Phanpy, which is Terra Fairy, the Hisui and Growlithe, the Greavard, Elekid, Mastiff, and Corphish. And nothing too unexpected here. I mean, Phanpy, I wasn't really sure what it was going to be doing in this battle, but Crep has brought it like almost every time, I think. So not too surprising. She's a big Phanpy fan. So yeah, here I'm just going to lead with the Quaxly. It's decent into a lot of stuff, and it specifically would lure the Elekid thanks to our Wackenberry. So that's kind of the goal here. We do see the Elekid lead, and that's into Quaxly, and we actually see the item is going to be Air Balloon to start, which is kind of interesting. That's if I can get rid of the Air Balloon, that's really great for Scarf Toadstool later, because we know this isn't Scarf, and obviously it'll lose that temporary ground immunity. I'm a little worried on this first turn about Volt Switch coming out, because that would kind of waste the Wackenberry, and I would just hit a switch in with Liquidation. So I'm thinking about Aqua Jet, but in the end, I'm just going to go for Liquidation. I'm just hoping they stay in. I mean, if they switch out, if they Volt Switch, it's not the worst thing in the world. I can take it, especially because it's not Life Orb, and Liquidation will still hit something decently hard. We see they go for the knockoff, probably expecting the Toadstool. Knocks off the Wackenberry, which effectively, uses it. And we get really good damage with the Liquidation. We do see a defense drop, which is great for me because I have Aqua Jet. We do see Static Pop as well, which we'll see if that matters down the line. But yeah, that defense drop matters quite a bit because Aqua Jet should be a KO now, at least should be a roll. So I am definitely thinking about going for it. Corphish is obviously a pretty great switch in, but I mean, I can't just let the Elekid take me out for free. They don't know I have Aqua Jet anyway, so you would think that they might want to just keep it in and finish off the Quaxly, so that's kind of what I'm thinking. But they do switch out, so maybe they did actually suspect the Aqua Jet. It makes sense. I mean, I did carry it, obviously, for the Hisui and Growlithe and to take things off, so yeah. Good call on switching the Corphish. And now, I mean, it kind of happened as soon as Quaxly took damage, but I just don't switch into Corphish at this point, honestly. So I can't do much other than hope it goes for a setup move like Dragon Dance and go for Encore with Quaxly. I mean, I just don't switch into a water move. And as we can see, Crab Hammer comes out and just takes out the Quaxly. That's unfortunate. Aqua Jet was going to be great for Growlithe. It was not exactly a Corphish switch in because we can see it did about at least half with a Crab Hammer to me. But, we got use of our Wackenberry, able to stay on the Elekid, and we chipped that down, which is decently important. At this point, I'm thinking about Toadstool, but actually the Corphish is not necessarily in range, especially if it's a bulkier set of Graded Drain, so I actually need to get Rocks up first, and then bring Toadstool in on it after Rocks chip to get it into range. So that's the reason I actually go into Geodude here. I could revenge it with something faster, but I really don't know much about this Corphish. It could be very bulky, so Doduo might not KO. Instead, I'm just going to go for this Terra Fighting, and I'm just going to end up going for the rocks. I'm betting they switch out. It's kind of a 50-50, right? Like, they could stay in and probably just 2-hit KO me through the Terra anyway, because this is a Corphish. It's incredibly strong. Or they could switch out, and that's what I'm going to read here. I'm going to try to get those rocks up, so next time Corphish comes in, it will definitely go down to a Toedscool Giga Drain. That's the goal. Or, I wasn't even watching myself play. Did I press Stealth Rock, or did I press Body Slam? I think I did press Body Slam on this turn. Because I was that worried about the Corphish just trying to hit me, and I would just get rocks up and go down. So yes, sorry, that's the Body Slam turn. On the Phanpy, the Galvanized Body Slam obviously doesn't work. And I'm thinking, yeah, Phanpy, good defensive switch into Geodude, but I would still love to get my rocks up. I think Phanpy is pretty passive, so this is a decent opportunity to do that. Geodude is Terra'd out of its ground weakness and Eviolite with a lot of bulk investment, so I'm not too worried about what I'm going to take from this Phanpy. So yeah, we're going to think about it, but in the end, yeah, getting my rocks up now would have been great to get them up on the Switch, as I thought I had done. But yeah, we actually see a curse come out from the Phanpy. It outsped me initially, but obviously on the next turn it's not going to. I don't think I had any idea that the Phanpy line learned curse. So I'm like, oh my god, what do I do here? I hover on Fuecoco for a bit. It does have Encore, so setting up multiple curses, like I would be counter to that. If they did on this turn, if they went for that second curse, I could Encore it in, and that would really lock it down. But I do worry about the Phanpy just starting to go for attacks here, and Fuecoco's a little too important in this battle to let it just go down to an Earthquake. It checks Greavard really well. And then so I'm just going to go for damage. We see it do not that much. It is at +1 defense, but luckily I did kind of get that call right. It only Earthquakes, which means that it's not setting up more. Once again, I'm thinking about maybe Fuecoco to Encore lock it into something. Toedscool isn't really a great switch in because it's gonna it's probably gonna Earthquake this turn, but it almost definitely has Ice Shard for the next turn, so that's not great. And at this point, I'm just thinking, like, I need to get as much damage as I can go for. So we're just going to try to Brick Break again. And they do a smart thing here. They Terra, which is going to allow them to resist that Brick Break. Would have loved to read that with a Galvanized Body Slam or something. Do just a little bit more damage. But I didn't make the read. And here they get this Terra Fairy Play Rough. And Geodude goes down. And now I am down 4-6. And this Phanpy is still set up and is decently healthy. So I'm thinking at this point, I do have Tinkatink here. We have Flash Cannon, and obviously Spadef isn't set up. So I'm looking at the calc, and it looks like a Flash Cannon should KO, potentially, after I at least get a little bit of Fake Out chip. So I'm glad I ran Fake Out here. And I think this delay is just me looking at the calcs for that exact information. Yep. We're going to Fake Out. No reason not to in this situation. Oh, I didn't mention it at the start of the battle, but it doesn't actually matter at this point, but the Greavard was Terra Water. And it's good that we had the Terra used on Phanpy, because Terra Water Greavard could have been decently hard to deal with. My check to it is supposed to be Fuecoco, just because it's fluffy, and we have the item for Poltergeist. Item removal. And yeah, we see here that the Phanpy, it tanks the Flash Cannon just with a little bit of HP left. And my Tinkatink goes down too, so I'm 3-6 right now to this tank Phanpy. And it's a really tough situation. It's really low health, so anything can revenge, but I know it does probably have Ice Shard. I believe I could use Quick Attack Doduo to deal with it, or I can go into Fuecoco here and just grab the KO with a Flamethrower. Either of them, you know, we're not super at risk to Ice Shard or anything. End up going with Fuecoco just because I don't want to reveal my item on Doduo. I could bluff Scarf still, I guess. It doesn't really matter. I mean, we take 2 damage from Ice Shard. And the Phanpy finally goes down to Flamethrower, but I am really behind in this game. So it's not looking good. They have all of their offense basically at full health. Elekid's chip down, and Corphish has a tiny bit of chip, Rocks are up for me, as we can see them dig into the Growlithe. But, I mean, look at the situation. What am I supposed to do? I simply don't have a switch in. They can click Head Smash all they want. Toadschool does resist that, but, I mean, they could read it with Flare Blitz, and even if they do Head Smash, it does so much damage. Enough that I'm just in range of absolutely any priority that my opponent might have. So I kind of just have to sack the Fuecoco here. It was going to be great to deal with the Greavard and probably the Mastiff at this point, but I mean, I just can't do much. I have to stay in. I ended up going for, I think, a Flamethrower just for the damage. It's inconsequential. They do actually go for Flame Charge, which, okay, that immediately sets off an alarm, but like, oh, if they get 2 Flame Charges off, then they just kind of sweep. So I Encore, just to make sure that if they Flame Charge, they're locked into it. But they do just go for that Smash and take out Fuecoco, and we're down 2-5. So, not great. Really not great. Just my Quaxly and my Tinkaton going down like that, it just left so much off the table for me to do any counterplay to this thing. I mean, especially the Geodude going down, like, this is supposed to beat the Growlithe. Here we do have Toadschool, and I can at least go for the surprise of Earth Power. They expect to be faster because they're a +1, but I do have the Scarf. So I at least take this next KO as well. Unfortunately, Toadschool is not strong enough to just sweep through this team by itself. Earth Power is unresisted, that's great, but it's just, Toadschool's special attack is not that high. A lot of stuff is still at full health, a lot of their offense. The Mastiff is going to be a huge problem. So yeah, we're just going to get whatever KOs we can, but I'm kind of recognizing that this game is not going my way. We do see the Corpus switch in, which actually does kind of motivate me to get Toadschool out and back in, because I can Giga Drain on the Corphish, and then that kind of keeps me healthy. I lock into that. I mean, Grass is also unresisted into this team, so, you know, why not? So we see the Dodo switch in, and we do see that Aqua Jet before going us down, and it does almost all of my health. This is a Choice Band Corphish. That's insane damage. I mean, that's almost a one-shot on a Pokemon that, like, isn't all that frail in Little Cup. So, yeah, kind of insane. At this point, I could Quick Attack for the chip, but honestly, I don't want to have Doduo do any chip damage to this, because I actually want as much recovery back from Toadschool if I'm playing optimally here. Not like it matters. We're going to take like one more KO with Toadschool maybe, and then be revenged by something. But yeah, Dodo goes down without doing anything. And then we're just left with the Toadschool. The Scarf Toadschool that I was really excited about for this match. And I can at least Giga Drain, and this should, you know, be a nice little KO on something. I'm not even sure that either the Mastiff or the Greavard are even 2-hit KO'd by it, but hey, we can try. And they do actually sack the L-Kid, so hey, the game is only 3-0. Given that I don't think I played this particularly well, I will certainly take a 3-0, because we're going to see, I believe it was the Greavard that comes in here. Yep, and I mean, I can Giga Drain all I want, but the writing's on the wall, right? Even if I beat the Greavard somehow, if it doesn't have any super offensive moves, I mean, we saw how strong that Corphish was. That Aqua Jet is just going to go so hard. And we see this Poltergeist almost KOs me, and there's nothing I can do. The Shadow Sneak even comes out as priority at the end there. And we're going to take that 3-0 loss. So I think I was pretty under-prepped for this battle. I didn't really make amazing plays. I think stuff I could have done to make it closer. I should have had some kind of other counterplay to Elekid other than Quaxly, because Quaxly did look really good otherwise in this battle. Maybe like an Eviolite set could have checked the Corphish a little better, or if we had kept it around for the Growlithe, then that would have been very helpful. You know, or just have it as like a way to switch into Phanpy and potentially Encore it down. So it had a lot of potential use, kind of wasted by baiting the Elekid, which didn't end up mattering too much in the end there. And then I definitely could have played better around Phanpy as it's set up. I would say probably like maybe try to get Fuecoco to Encore in an Ice Shard, maybe switch it in for Toadschool, that kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, the way it played out, I just lost too many Pokemon, so is what it is. But yeah, with all that said, that is our week 7. We are 5-2 at this point, so, you know, still doing pretty great. And yeah, we get to head out into week 8 after this, so I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.